Hello everyone, welcome back to Kirby Planet Robobot. Last time we beat up Susie, who's a jerk, and this time we go to Gigabyte Grounds. I knew what that was. What does it spell?
It what does it
spell?
Grounds. I don't know why.
It spells Prague. Prognosis. Kirby's gonna kick your ass. Yeah.
That's prognosis.
You're a prognosis.
You're really slipping on this one.
Yeah, I know. Did you see that expert crossfade? You didn't even tell I stopped and started a new recording section.
Do you mean when the text showed up at half opacity for 2 seconds? I saw that.
You didn't even notice. All right. I'm an editing wizard.
Why didn't you just do a normal cut when the screen was completely black?
Because there's a special cutscene of the world like appearing and the stuff happening, like the ground appearing, and I needed to show that, so I just had to pause and use my expert wizard editing magic.
Did you need to?
In order to.
Did you really need to show it?
So
You just
majestic.
explained it.
Look,
There's
man.
a blender in the background.
Oh, don't tell me that. Was
kinda
that
cool.
curry?
Yep, that's curry.
Oh, yeah.
Although it doesn't go and make you go into super spicy.
No,
mode.
Lewis, it's Kirby.
Yeah.
I still need to actually find a chance to try curry.
They need to do that. Just have a B power up for Kirby. Just call him Kirby.
Super spicy Kirby.
Didn't you have curry when we went to the Japanese place when we went to PAX East a million years ago?
don't think so.
I
Oh, you've never had curry before?
That was a ramen place, I think.
Yeah, they have curry though, and I hear it's pretty good. I don't.
had it.
I'm
handle
new to the
spice.
curry. I've only had curry for the first time like 6 months ago, and my life has changed. It's amazing.
Yeah, so I am the whitest person on the planet, and anything even the tiniest bit spicy will make me cry.
It's not. You don't have to get
kind of a-
spicy.
it's kind of-
Get-
it's kind of a
if
low
you
bar.
if you get Japanese curry, it's not spicy.
Japanese
You-
curry has stuff like chocolate in it.
So you know the
What?
scene from Star Wars Episode 3 with Anakin. That's me, but you underestimate my power.
The style of curry that you see from Japanese curry, I think, is usually more of a balanced set of flavors than just pure spice.
I mean, Indian curry you can also get mild, but Japanese curry is never usually spicy.
Pure
Unless you
spice.
wet.
I don't remember that one of the Spice Girls. There was like Ultra Spice.
They
Super Spice.
changed their name when they brought them to America.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it was originally Doki Doki.
That's one of
Never really tell
the
you
one of the
about
pack Man ghosts. Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Curry.
No, Inky, Pinky, Blinky, and Doki Doki Panic.
Doki Doki Panic.
Yeah, it took a lot of tech space. They had to cut an entire level for it.
That's why the game crashes at like level 256. It's just,
So you know how all the different Pac-Man ghosts have different AI loops? How like Blinky will always chase you, and Pinky like tries to cut you off. Doki Doki Panic tries to jump onto Pac-Man's head and pick him up, then throw him.
Yeah.
all right, good talk.
Good tangent.
I mean, we're on the desert level, and this is probably my least favorite level in the game. Not this like stage, but this world. This is kind of where the worlds sort of get a little longer, and it's the desert level, and I don't know.
Why is it always the desert level?
Because it's like trying to make a level out of just sand is a bad idea.
Sand is dull.
Maybe that's why Mario gets it out of the way in World 2 all the time, because they know that if they leave it for later, it's just going to be a massive slog.
So
Well,
here's
look,
the thing.
there's forks though.
Desert is a very visually evocative kind of look that can work really well in a visual medium, because, you know, it's just an endless line of sand, which can symbolize all sorts of stuff. But in an interactive medium like video games, there's just nothing to do, which can be the point, but that's not a good point in a platformer.
Well, I mean, there are some places in games where it really, really works. Like in Super Mario Odyssey, for example, the desert level is the first like really big open space, and you might think that Endless Sand Dudes doesn't give you a lot to do, but it's an excellent playground to start really experimenting with your mobility.
Yeah, that's
Like-
true.
Like rolling down hills is never going to stop being fun. So
Mario Odyssey was a good game. I always want to go and replay it, but I think if I were going to replay Mario Odyssey, I would only ever want to do like the main story, and then I probably wouldn't ever.
Oh no, going for all the moons is dreadful.
That's a game you only need to 100% once.
Yeah, but I feel like it's the same sort of thing like Breath of the Wild. Like, Breath of the Wild was an amazing game. I have no desire to ever replay that game ever again. You know, which I think is fine. Not every game needs to be like this massively replayable kind of situation.
It's a little unfortunate though, because like you have this huge open world RPG with all these elements that people associate with games like Skyrim, but then after you're done with it, you realize that part of what makes games like Skyrim or, you know, Fallout New Vegas, the actual like good RPG, well, part of what makes those games like fun and replayable is not so much how open they are, but the sense of like sort of living a life within that game, you know?
I guess Breath of the Wild kind of has some of that, like getting the house and whatnot, but
It's like, I guess because so much time had passed and I hadn't really like looked up footage for Breath of the Wild. It's been long enough to where I'm missing it.
You can get a house, sure, but in a game like Skyrim, you can get a house, adopt a child, decorate your house, and then, you know, once you're tired of that house, you can get another house in another town. And
that just sounds like Animal Crossing.
It kind of does, but not really.
I want the Skyrim mod where everybody talks like.
You know what? There probably is one, but
I'm sure there is one.
You,
if there's...
you wouldn't find videos about it because it's really hard to do a beautiful bodies mod butt shot thumbnail for it. So
What the fuck?
Yeah. Man. So it's, you know, like how Rule 34 is like if it exists, there's porn of it, right? What is that for if it exists?
That's never the start of a good conversation.
What rule number is that?
I don't know what rule number it is, but it's definitely got to be a rule somewhere because I've seen so many Skyrim mods. It's ridiculous.
Like, there's easy ones like, okay, now your character says Duke Nukem quotes, or now the sky is just a picture of Dwight from The Office, or whatever. But, like, there's some weird Skyrim mods, man. There's some bizarre ones, even for the internet.
Yeah.
I just like that the conversation started with, you know how Rule 34 is a thing, right? And like, that's...
And did you not know that Rule 34 is a thing?
No, I do, but I feel like that's like not the good way to start a set. Like, there's usually not going to be a pleasant outcome. Like, all right, so Rule 34, right? We got to talk
When
about
I'm
this.
done my masturbation session, I wonder if there's a Skyrim mod.
The mind wanders.
In any case, what was my original point? I
have no fucking idea.
Something about Skyrim.
My original point was that, you know, for all of Breath of the Wild's merits, it really is just about the basic gameplay loop when you get down to it. The actual worlds and roleplay elements are very extremely secondary. And in a way, that kind of reveals a weakness in the open world gameplay loop.
Well, it's because Nintendo, like usual, doesn't want to give Link a personality.
Yeah, that's just pretty typical Nintendo in that they don't...
Well, I mean, giving the main character a personality isn't really something that happens in open world games anymore.
No, I mean, if you give him role-playing options, he will get a personality as a result of that.
Even if it is just one that... Well, it's weird. Link exists the way he is, so anybody can graft a personality onto him. But if the game allows you to graft a personality onto him using the game, then it becomes too much, is kind of what happens. Like, you can imagine whatever personality you want for Link, but as soon as the game allows you to say, oh, Link eats celery for dinner, then it's like, oh no, Link could canonically like celery. We can't let that happen. So
Isn't that
they kind of try in
lets you do.
Well, yeah, they try to contextualize his personality a little bit with some of like the data logs, and they explain why he doesn't talk. Like he just chooses to not show emotion.
But that always felt like them trying to have their cake and eat it too to me.
I think so.
That's exactly what it is.
But I think it's also just a matter of how much does that actually matter at the end of the day.
That is a trope in games that I'm getting extremely tired of, where they feel the need to explain that their silent protagonist is in fact silent. What? Okay. Why?
Well, I don't remember if Breath of the Wild does this, but I don't like it when a silent protagonist is having conversations that you can't hear. I don't think Breath of the Wild does that. I don't think Link has conversations.
And Breath of the Wild does actually do this, as well as several of the Atlas Shin Megami Tensei games, including some of the Personas. I always liked it when the silent protagonist was given character through your dialogue options. And Breath of the Wild somewhat does this, where Link can come across as kind of an asshole, where, like, at the very beginning of the game, you can be like, the old guy's talking to you about, oh, your duty and whatnot, just like, give me the paraglider, bitch. That's basically the personality you can give him.
The problem is, it's like the dialogue options in Skyward Sword, where you have the option and it will change like one line of dialogue, but it doesn't really affect anything.
It doesn't need to affect anything for me personally. Not every game needs a morality system or whatnot.
If you're giving me the choice to constantly, respond to things, then it has to affect something. Otherwise, there's no real point to me.
You want there to be weight to your words.
Yeah, in Persona, you've got your social links, and the dialogue choices factor into how good you are at being a friend, and therefore how quickly you can rank up your social links. That's something. That does enough. And even when you're giving dialogue options that you know necessarily won't necessarily have an impact on anything, the whole thing sort of feeds into each other and makes even those moments feel better. But ooh.
That's
Nice.
something I really liked about Shin Megami Tensei 4 is that almost every dialogue option in the game, even the ones that you would assume don't have a story significance, do impact your morality. Like one of the very big examples early on is like you meet somebody and you get the two options where somebody's like, "Hi, I'm so-and-so," and your options are like, say your name back or ignore him. And most of the time, you would think if you choose the ignore him option, you're just being a dick and it doesn't matter. But it does actually push you towards chaos alignment if you choose that option. Like, it's only like 1 point, but it does actually do it. And the game keeps track of every single decision like that you make. Which I always thought was really neat. It makes getting the neutral ending a bitch because the window's so small. But I do like that they do give your weight to your decisions in that way. And kind of, if we're going by this role-playing logic, it does effectively make you create a character, effectively, because how you respond to the world affects your morality, which affects the path you go down in the game. Oh, here it is! Here's the music I was talking about. It's just like somebody just smashed their keyboard for 30 seconds, and we're just gonna leave it in the game.
It's just factory sounds. It fits in.
Nah, yeah, but I don't want them slammed into my ear. And then the rest of the song just sounds almost identical to the 64 version anyway. So
yeah. I wanted to just quickly, on the topic of like RPG dialogue options, I was just played through Dragon Quest XI. I told Ted, and that game does one of the things I really don't like is when a character be like, "Oh, it's up to you. Would you like to save the world? Yes or no?" And you'd be like, "No," and then be like, "Come on, man, this is serious. Yes or no?" And then you go, "No." And you're like,
okay,
"Come on, man, this is serious."
I understand that, but this is an instance where that's a running joke in the franchise.
Is it? As a newbie, I didn't know that.
It is. I can vouch for that as someone who's only played the first and fifth game. The fifth game does it too. And at this
the
point
first
I
game
realized,
does it. If you rescue the princess, she's like, "Oh, take me home," and you can say no, and this is where the trope name comes from. She'll go, "But thou must," and she'll keep on saying that until you say yes.
But okay, Dragon Quest XI though has my favorite instance of it ever, where Jade is trying to convince you to go help someone, and if you say no, she just like does a high kick straight at your face and stops her foot like right in front of your face.
Yeah,
and then she says, "I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you."
So my favorite version of it in Dragon Quest XI is when you're helping the bratty prince, and he's like, "Please, please, please help me fight the monster," and you say no, and every time you say no, he like falls on his hands and knees and goes like, and you see him like slam to the ground begging you 3 times, and he's like, please help me. And he's like, it's hilarious. I love it. Yeah, but in terms of like Dragon Quest, that's a running joke. They never really let you do it now in a serious way. It's only ever in a comedy way. In regular games, I do kind of agree with you, which leads to one of my favorite jokes in Super Paper Mario, although it's
not standard game over.
Yeah, where if you say no at the very beginning of the game, then the guy's like, we're doomed, and then you get a game over, and you have to watch the 20-minute opening cutscene again. Although, yeah, no, they do that. I think they also let you do that for the final boss in Thousand Year Door as well. If you're like, yeah, sure, I'll go along with your evil plan.
To the evil,
yeah.
I think my favorite version of that is which Streets of Rage is it? That where if you're playing co-op, one person can join the bad guy and the other can say no, so you have to fight each other.
I'm pretty sure that's the first or third game.
Yeah.
I thought that was Double Dragon where you fought the other person.
One of the Streets of Rage also has that too.
Oh, okay. Oh, in Double Dragon, you fight over the girlfriend.
Not a choice. Yeah.
Okay. You see, I never actually beat Streets of Rage 1 or 3 or 2. Actually, I'm bad at video games.
No, never 2? Okay.
Yeah, I always died, like, at the baseball stadium level.
It's like Boo.
I mean, I might be able to do it now, because I played a lot of Streets of Rage 4, because that game is, like, perfect. But I just haven't gone back to 2 in a long time, so we'll see.
Just look at the final boss. It's to do with a gun. It's like, finally.
It's just like, yes, somebody finally decided to give you. Did you ever get a chance to play Streets of Rage 4, John?
Yeah, I've been in a couple of times.
Okay, good. Because, like, that game is legitimately, like, probably my game of 2020, if I had to pick just one.
Is it reasonable to go into 4 if you haven't played the other ones?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
I've only ever heard the soundtrack to 2. I haven't really played it.
Oh, the soundtrack is great. But yeah, no, it's just a beat 'em up, you know.
All you need to know is that Mr. X bad. Mr. X was defeated, and these characters were the ones who did it. So
yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played plenty of beat 'em ups, just never got around to Streets of Rage. I was never a Genesis kid, besides Sonic, like 2, and that was it.
Yeah, I wasn't really a Genesis kid either, but Streets of Rage 2 was one of the first games I downloaded on the Virtual Console, so I do have kind of a nostalgia for that one, oddly enough. I played that a lot, even though I was terrible at it. Skate's the best character, by the way, don't at me.
Nah.
You play Axel, don't you?
No, I play as Axel and Max.
Oh, you play so you put tomato sauce on your spaghetti when you order it at the fancy restaurant.
Well, what do you put on it?
Okay. Well, I'm playing Skate, so I'm not ordering at that fancy dumb restaurant. I'm riding by on my skateboard.
I'm not questioning whether.
Shades.
No, hold on, no.
Ted's ordering Ted's ordering off the kids menu.
I am ordering off the kids menu. I get a color on the menu with crayons. I get the cheeseburger with fries, and it comes with a Happy Meal toy.
I'm Blaze Fielding, so I guess once again I'm the bacon cheeseburger boy.
That's not what I was getting at, damn it. Because you mentioned the sauce specifically, as in. Tomato on pasta is like the basic option.
I was like,
I was wondering, what other options do you put something else on your pasta? Because you mentioned the sauce specifically. What?
John, the doctor thinks you're basic.
Yeah, I know. I am.
Hi-oh.
But
like, look, I'm just saying,
you're not
I'm hip
what do you put on your
rad.
fucking pasta?
I'm hip and rad, so I get like chicken parm.
Looks like
this is gonna be
like
the
somebody.
biggest fucking J.J. Abrams mystery box of BrainScratch commentaries. Like, what does Ted put on his pasta, and he's never gonna fucking answer it.
It turns out that the pasta is actually the emperor, and
oh my God.
My parents were the waiter, and they were actually like the emperor's sister or something.
These are all the ramblings of someone who puts bread on their sandwich.
Let the pasta
Wait, are you
die.
talking about like a bread sandwich and that bread in between two bread? We'll see you next time, everybody.